Today, we're breaking down a sudden and frankly significant announcement from President Trump concerning Greenland, tariffs, and the entire Arctic region. Our analysis is based on reports from both Fox News and CNBC television on January 21st, 2026. What started as a tense international standoff over trade has unexpectedly evolved into a high-stakes negotiation for one of the most strategically important territories on the planet. So let's unpack this surprising turn of events. Just a few days ago, the main conversation was all about a looming trade dispute between the US and its European allies. Now, the focus has completely shifted to the vast, icy expanse of the Arctic. It's a major pivot in diplomatic focus, and it all seems to have started with a single social media post.
The news didn't break through a formal press conference or a typical diplomatic channel. Instead, it came from a post by President Trump on his Truth Social platform. This unconventional method of announcement caught many world leaders and analysts by surprise, leaving a lot of people scrambling to understand the full implications.
This right here was the core of the announcement. It's a direct statement declaring that the groundwork, or framework, for a significant agreement has been laid. It's also worth noting this came right after meetings with NATO officials that the president described as very productive, which adds an official layer to this otherwise surprising declaration.
And this announcement had an immediate and very powerful consequence. You see, the looming threat of 10% tariffs on European allies, which were scheduled for February 1st, was completely suspended. Now, this move provided instant relief to the markets, for sure, but more importantly, it seems to reveal the incredible leverage being used here. The Greenland deal wasn't just about the Arctic, it was actually the key to unlocking this whole trade dispute.
So this raises a huge question. Why the intense focus on Greenland? I mean, of all the issues on the global stage, why this massive ice-covered island suddenly become the centerpiece of U.S. foreign policy? Well, the administration's strategic argument offers some pretty critical clues.
The argument being presented is multifaceted, and it's really all about geopolitics. First, it's about security in a rapidly changing Arctic. As the ice melts, new shipping lanes and access to vast resources are opening up, and the U.S. wants to counter the growing influence of rivals, particularly China and Russia, in this new frontier. Second, it's an economic and developmental argument. The administration is asserting that Denmark has underinvested in Greenland's future, essentially making a case for a change in stewardship.
Okay, so that brings us to the other side of the negotiation. How exactly have European officials responded to this so-called framework?
The initial public stance from the European Union was firm and, well, crystal clear. This statement was obviously meant to shut down any and all speculation about an outright purchase of the territory. However, the full story seems to be a bit more nuanced than this one statement might suggest.
And this is where the public statement and the private discussions seem to diverge a bit. Reports indicate that even before this big announcement, EU commissioners had expressed a desire to find a place of negotiation. This suggests that while an outright sale was probably never on the table, the door was always open for some kind of deal.
So we have this very concrete outcome. The tariffs are off, but it's tied to this very ambiguous framework. The crucial details of what this deal actually consists of are, for now, completely missing. And you have to wonder if that ambiguity is entirely by design. This is the key question that diplomats and analysts are grappling with. Was the word framework chosen intentionally to allow for maximum flexibility? It could mean a lease, expanded military basing rights, exclusive access to resources, or something else entirely. This intentional vagueness leaves a huge amount of room for negotiation.
Based on the reporting and some past statements, the possibilities are quite varied. They really do range from a full acquisition, which, again, the EU has flatly rejected, to a more limited but still highly significant military or defense agreement. We're talking about things like an expanded U.S. military presence or perhaps new missile defense installation.
And this whole situation seems to brilliantly illustrate what some analysts have described as a recurring negotiation strategy for the president. The idea is to make a really big, disruptive opening move to get everyone's attention and force them to the table. And then, once they're there, the real, more nuanced talks can begin.
Ultimately, this leaves us with the central question. Are we witnessing the start of a historic geopolitical shift in the Arctic, a real redrawing of the map? Or is this simply a masterful negotiation tactic designed to win a trade dispute using an entire island as a bargaining chip? Well, only the forthcoming details of this mysterious framework will reveal the full story.